everyone. How are you all doing tonight? I sure hope everyone's doing really well tonight, because we got a big show for you. We're going to be talking about the terrain painter and what the terrain painter can do for you. Are you ready to receive the word today? Well then, folks, get ready because we're about to begin. And if you don't listen, you won't pay attention, you will not learn anything. But what you will get and receive today is a good night's rest tonight. That's right. If you have trouble sleeping, then we can help you sleep. That's what we do. All right, let's get going now. We got many things to cover today, and today the word is going to be on terrain paints. Are you ready to receive it today?
Video was going to be on terrain painting. The guy that provided this map, anyway, he had problems with the terrain painter, and after spending a long time figuring out what was wrong, it was there all along, staring me in the face. I can show you what the terrain painter problem looked like. Now see, he's got his base texture set to 8192 and macro and details at 1024. I've done that too before. I just don't have the patience to wait on 8192 to load. It takes forever for everything to happen with that. Maybe like people with better memory or something, like faster memory, don't have that issue, but man, it was slow. So let me find one that's got an issue, and that way we can kind of dissect it. I may have to reload the original, but basically you got base paint, normal map, roughness, ambient occlusion, height. Just ignore everything for now and just open up ambient occlusion and open up base color. Alright, so the base texture for the ambient occlusion and the base color has an ambient occlusion for a base texture too. Basically, the base color, normals, roughness, ambient occlusion, and height, they all have a base map. Or you could say a base map, the base color, the image that you see when you're far away, that is basically the entire image of the map. If you use it that way, you don't have to, but if you did, then that has 5 individual texture slots. The only 2 that are required to show a texture is the base color, which is this one, and its ambient occlusion, which is that one. Now, I just duplicated the top one and stuck it in the bottom because you can do that. It's not a real ambient occlusion map. It will not give you the benefit of ambient occlusion on this at all, but it works. Now, that's the process of elimination I do. I take it all the way down to just the very basic, bare bone minimum. But what I did in the video that I was going to put on YouTube was I started with the detail texture and the macro texture, I assumed they were the problem. See, what the problem was when you painted, you just got black, just a black texture, which tells you there's something wrong with one of your paints. Either you're missing one that you need, like the ambient occlusion, or it's the wrong resolution for this right here, and you got the wrong resolution in here, and you just thought you scaled it up to that by putting a number here. That has nothing to do with that. That has its own resolution that when you pick it, you can look at it here. It tell you what the resolution is for each one of these. That resolution has to match that. This is just how many times it's tiled. If it's 8192 and you put 8192, then if you go far away from the world and look at the ground, you're going to see one big image taking up the whole piece of land. If you were to make it smaller, then it would start tiling and whatnot. Say 512. Still 8192, it's just tiling it differently on the map. So if we go zoom out now, you can see that, oops, went too far. You can see that one map starting to repeat itself many, many times. It's still 8192, it's just tiling. Now this had nothing to do with his problem, I was just pointing it out. But that is a common thing people get wrong. They get the base texture wrong. Another thing people do is they and Blender GIS is bad about this. it will not give you a power of 2 resolution. And you need to really scale those to a power of 2. There'll be like some oddball resolution, like 17,000 by something. You know, nothing that is close to power of 2. So his problem was that one of these, when I loaded it, it had the name like this, as if the texture was there, but it was white. Now, a lot of times you can say, well, that's just the ambient occlusion map because they are really white looking. They're very bright. But no, the problem was the DAE itself was looking for a file that was in a location that did not exist, basically. This T macro Rocky, for example, I don't remember the exact one it was, but it didn't even exist when you went to pick when you say, okay, well, let's go get it. And you're looking for it, and it's not even in here. So that tells me that it was the DAE hunting for it, not this, and it wasn't even in here to begin with. Once I swapped that out with something else, it immediately loaded the texture. And then I realized all the others were just fine. I took them all out for nothing in the process of elimination. Now that base color that I just told you about, that needs an ambient occlusion, as with that, so does the macro and detail. So you can do just base color and macro and detail, and in the ambient occlusion, do the base color, its macro, ambient occlusion, and detail ambient occlusion. So all these are ambient occlusions. And if you ever see them being red like that, it only means they're proper grayscale. It does not mean that they're red. It means they're grayscale. Red shows up as grayscale. I don't know why it does it. It's kind of confusing to a lot of people. Also, they need to be 8-bit integer, not 16-bit. The only 16-bit I know you can get away with is the terrain height map, which needs 16-bit so it doesn't have so many stair-stepping in it. So this has stair-stepping in places, but so did 16-bit. So that's just the engine limitation because it's got enough colors. Or maybe it needs 32-bit. I don't think the game will support that. I thought maybe one time I got it to load, but I didn't see no benefit in it. I know to load targets too. It's not something that pops up. You have to manually type it in, but I'm not sure if terrain paints take the target. I know I've loaded them in here before. They may have been in here. But you don't want to use them. They're really big. In fact, he's using all the developer macro and details, but he's providing his own base color map, which is fine. I do it all the time. Hell, they look good, and they get the job done, and there's plenty of them already made. I do the same thing. The only problem he had was his ambient occlusion was messed up, and or the base color. There was two of them I looked at. One had the base color messed up. The other had the ambient occlusion messed up. Because I believe he had a base color test in here that was just test. That's supposed to be 8K. And I think it did load after I fixed it, which that would make all that solid white with a black line going through it if this was all rocky dirt. Which I don't know what it is. I think it is. I think that is, yeah, that is rocky dirt. So I got my, let's see. I always get confused when I'm doing these damn tutorials. I'll have it picked here thinking I'm picking the terrain paint when I'm not, and I got it something else picked up there. As long as that's not corrupt, which it is, in fact, corrupt. So I don't know what happened to it, but that's kind of like what we saw. That's kind of like what I saw with his. There was one of them screwed up. Like if I load that into my photo editor, I can probably figure out possibly what's going on with it. I'm making. It says 8192. It says 8192. I don't know. Let's load it up in our in GIMP. If anybody ever orders Photoshop and they send you two of them by mistake and tell you to just go ahead and keep the other one, I'll gladly take it from you. Take it off your hands. I'm not a fan of GIMP. I only used it because it was free. It's got some good stuff about it, but I don't care for it. I'm used to Photoshop. I'm not used to this. I had to learn this when I learned Blender and learned World Editor, and I mean, it's similar to Photoshop, but it's kind of like if some alternate reality made Photoshop, but then somebody was not like on the same page or something like. They just did things ass backwards is what it feels like. Just little stuff like shortcuts and stuff. There's so many things that just gripe my ass about it that it's not don't make sense to me. I guess because maybe I'm a Photoshop fanboy or whatever the hell they call it. That's just what I've always liked to use. I just can't afford that shit. It's expensive, man. All these apps cost a lot of money when they're not free. And maybe if the channel like one day makes like a lot of money, I'll definitely get another computer, one that I can have rendering video on all the time, and the other uh, be like the main computer. I've had opportunities to have two computers, but like right now I don't got room for two. Hell, I even basically got enough for one right now. Um, but yeah, I would eventually like to get Photoshop because it's got the AI built into it now that can help with textures and all kinds of cool stuff, man. I don't even really want to look at all the features now because I'll just drool and say, oh, I want it. I want it, but I can't have it. I think the cheapest plan was like $45 a month to basically lease Photoshop. You know, like all these other subscription plans they got, you can lease that one too. You can also lease 3D Studio Max for $200 a month. That's crazy. I like the water in 3D Studio, but damn if I'd pay $200 a month for that. And when I had it anyway, when I first started BeamNG World Editor stuff, I had it. That's what I was using, and it had a problem exporting DAEs. Like the DAEs were corrupt or something. Whatever it was, BeamNG did not like them at all. And they confused the hell out of me with their the way they do their containers on there. It was something about it it was all screwed up. Blender made a lot of sense right away. Everything kind of made sense. Blender is not a bad Photoshop as GIMP is to Photoshop. Blender actually is really a lot easier to use. It's got a lot easier learning curve. But that's my opinion. If anybody is interested in it, that's it. So what's going on with this test here? I don't know. It could be index color. Nope, that's not it. It says RGB color, 8-bit, nonlinear integer. Mode, RGB. Sometimes you can accidentally have indexed on there, and that'll screw up the textures. Encoding, 8-bit integer, nonlinear or linear light. I don't know if that makes a shit difference or not. I'll save it as linear light. I know I use linear when I render normal mapping and not RGB, but I don't know what this. I'll also flatten the image because it probably, no, it's already missing an alpha channel, so it should be fine. I don't know that having an alpha channel matters so much. It does make the file larger. Having an alpha channel is what I read, because it's another RG. You got red, blue, green. Well, alpha is another color, so it adds more file size to the file. Or it's supposed to anyway. I'm gonna name this as a JPEG instead of PNG. That's what I was gonna say. I use JPEGs. If I have to ever do anything for the PBR Terrain painter, it's getting exported as JPEG because they're smaller in size and they damn sure don't look any different in my opinion. They look exactly the same and they're smaller. Now DDS are small too, but you can't use them for PBR terrain paints. Or at least you couldn't. Or if you could, I did it wrong and they never worked for me. I say that like that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong and not know it. Tell y'all the wrong thing. Look at that. 200 megs all the way down to 1 meg. Yeah, if you put a bunch of PNGs in your terrain painter, well, it says PNGs to preferable for this, but I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they didn't do DDS. I really don't. And I don't think this is going to matter. It takes forever to save these. See, it didn't do shit. So what's the real deal here? Why won't it work? That's probably why he went crazy too, trying to figure out why wouldn't it work. Because sometimes the shit don't make no sense. Like in this case, I don't know why it ain't. Rocky dirt, rocky dirt. The macro and details are working. I take them out. Take them out. So we just got, look at there. We found our problem. What problem is that? The problem is that Terrain B is not a valid texture that can be selected in here. So it's looking for something it can't find. So good, this is the same example as the other one that I was going to give that I already fixed, that now I can say, you see, that was the problem. You got to put something in there that's valid or just remove it. Look at the normal mapping. Nothing in it. It says there's something there, but there's nothing actually there. We can go to that folder and see for ourselves there's nothing in there. So remove it. And so we'll just remove all the macro and details and just rule out every possibility so that we only got the ambient occlusion that may very well be bad. It seems to be fine. It seems to be T macro Rocky AO. T macro Rocky AO. It should be 1024 by 1024. Yeah, that's fine. Except it's not fine because guess what? That's the base texture. What does the base texture have to be? In all the slots, all 5 slots, not just the top one, all 5. It's height map, the base height, the base ambient occlusion, the base roughness, the base normals. They all got to be 8192 because that's what's specified here. Now if you change that, you can change it, but all the other textures are going to become black because they all rely on that. They're probably set to that. But in this particular case, it's the wrong resolution in that one, and that's enough to throw it off. So we'll stick to the bare minimum. We'll stick that in there, and we'll stick the base in there. Now it should work now once we save it. If I got them all out of there, might have missed one. Well, I got them all out of there, but it's still black. So one still remains. And looky there, there it is. In the ambient occlusion. I just said that, didn't I? Now watch, I'll copy this one and paste it down here. Now, I realize that's not a real ambient occlusion map. I realize that. And voila, it worked. We now have the test image